And welcome to this morning yoga session. We will be using 2 blocks today just to assist us in some asanas, as well as to use them as a reference in some other positions. So as we're resting on the floor, you're welcome to bend your knees and plant your feet on the mat. That will help you to get your pelvis in a comfortable position, making sure that your lower back is in neutral. Welcome to spread your arms a little bit away from the hips, and maybe even squeeze the shoulder blades to set your shoulders in an open position. And from here, let us take a couple of long exhales to settle in the supine position, to ground ourselves through the feet, through the palms, through the back of the head, shoulder blades, to admit the presence in the space that you choose to practice your session today, at your home, maybe cottage, maybe outside. Allowing the air to flow through the nostrils in, through the nostrils out. Every exhale, allowing yourself to empty the lungs to full while you're not holding your breath, and noticing how the respiratory system turns into inhalation on its own. Noticing the bottom of your exhale, noticing the top of your inhale without over-inhaling. We'll have here 5 more breaths before we'll start some gentle moves. From here, allow some movements in the fingers, making circles in the wrists. Maybe bend your elbows a couple of times, bringing the palms toward the belly, bending elbows and just checking them. Then maybe move your toes and maybe bring your right ankle on the top of the left knee and go a couple of ankle circles, one direction and the other direction. And then maybe extend your right leg and go with a couple of knee bends, just checking how the knee feels, the right knee in this point. And then we'll do the same with the left leg, so maybe bring the left ankle on the top of the right knee and go in a couple of circles with your big toe one direction and the other direction, just lubricating the ankle joint. And then extend your left leg and get a couple of knee bends, remembering always that the knee joint is just a hinge, and all what we have here is flexion and extension on the knee. And then just bring your both feet down to the floor. Maybe spread the feet a little bit wider on the edges of the mat, and just go with the windshield movements, dropping knee to one side, dropping the knee to the other side. Couple of times. And when you're ready, I'll just bring your knees toward your chest, hug them, rock from side to side. And when you're ready, start rocking from the head to the hips a couple of times to find a way to come into the seated position. And when you are in the seated position, I just extend your legs wide. Try to roll to the top of your seat bones, so allowing your spine to be long. Maybe have your hands on the sides of the hips for the moment, just stretching, pushing yourself up. So making sure that you're not rounding, you're not dropping your chin down to the chest. And from here, we'll walk the right hand a little bit away from the hips, taking the left arm up, and don't press the left arm overhead. Keep it in the comfortable position for your left shoulder and just take a look up toward the ceiling. You can turn the palm toward the front. So making sure that the left shoulder is in external rotation, and maybe press your palm backward a little bit. So opening the shoulder even a little bit more. Whatever feels right for you, at the same time feeling some stretch in the left side of your torso, and then just go into any comfortable position over the head, opening the left side of the body even more. Hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release your left arm in front of the body and just come again back into the seated position. Tall torso, and just scan your left and right side of the body. Feel like your left side is more awake than the right side. Let's equal that. Walk with your left hand a little bit further away from the hips. Take your right arm up, turn the palm toward the front. Don't stretch it too far overhead first. Just something that's comfortable for your right shoulder. And then just press the palm backward a little bit, working more on the warm up and stretch of the front of the shoulder. So some external rotation of the right shoulder here. And then go any position that is comfortable for your shoulder to take your right arm overhead. Still try to keep your gaze up toward the ceiling and hold here with a very grounded right hip for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's release your right arm and sit tall one more time. Then bring your left hand in front, right hand behind, and very gently twist yourself to the right. So your hips are very locked with the position of the legs on the floor, so you really can check how much rotation of the upper body you have here, and maybe pulse here a little bit. Think of your moving the floor around your hips here. Really massaging dynamic movement here, just to wake up the spine for rotation and return back to the center. Again, use your arms to elongate up, and then we'll go to the opposite. Bring the right hand in front, left hand behind, and very gently twist yourself to the left. And again, notice how you want to rotate the floor around your hips rather than tensing the shoulders. Try to visualize that the spine is tall here, and exhale back to the center. Let's use the hands to bend the knees, so your knees will be pretty wide. Almost like your maximum of your external rotation for the hips. Flex your feet and use your hands to just pull yourself forward a little bit to maintain the spine straight, keeping your knees wide. Let's drop the knees to the left, so come into the 90-90 position. Your right hip is an internal rotation, left hip is an external rotation. Right hip can go off the floor. Try to keep your spine tall here and keeping your feet flexed. Let's open the right knee and then just allow the left knee to follow. Come to the center, again, tall spine, and let's go to the other side. So a bit of the warm up for the hips, adjusting your 90-90 position, keeping your feet flexed. Again, left hip can come off the floor. Try to keep your spine tall, and then start with the left knee coming off. So trying to determine what is your external rotation here, and come to the center, tall spine. One more time, going to the left. So dropping the right hip and maintaining tall spine, using your hands maybe to assist here if you need. Lifting first the right knee, come back to the center, knees wide. Keep yourself again really tall, open chest, and go to the other side. Checking how your left hip feels. Internal rotation is something that is really challenging for a lot of us. And then from here, just release your legs, cross them, and move into the tabletop position. So when you find yourself in a tabletop position, set your hands shoulder width apart. Try to keep your middle finger straight forward, and just hold your knees where it feels comfortable. We're going to work a little bit on the wrists, inner circular movement, so moving your shoulders forward, right, back, left. So loading the wrist a little bit in a different angle. So let's go 3 times one direction, and then go 3 times the other direction. So moving here and just warming up the wrist. The wrist will be working to support the body weight in a downward dog very shortly. So just let's warm it up. And when we completed the 3, let's just have a back of the wrist on the floor. Stretch your elbows, allowing a little bit of a contour pose for the wrist here. Stretching the forearms as well. And then let us return back into the tabletop position, setting the knees hip distance, and let's warm up the spine here. So let's come into the cat a stretch, holding that for a moment. So tucking the tailbone under, sending the crown of the head in between the arms, pulling the belly in to the maximum flexion of your spine, and scanning the spine and maybe finding some spots that feels a little bit tight, maybe along the neck, maybe along the shoulder blades, and then as slow as you're able to control, move the spine into extension, into the dog stretch, lifting the chin up, keeping shoulders away from the ears, just collapsing with the belly toward the floor, lifting your tailbone up, and then again very slowly go into the opposite. And from here, I will invite you to go on your own pace, connecting the movement of the spine to your breath. So that's a first vinyasa. With inhale, we usually come into the dog stretch, opening the chest, and on exhale, we have a little bit of action. We need a little bit of a power to pull the belly in and round the spine. So let's have 2 more movements here. Work with your own breath. Maybe you go a little bit faster or a little bit slower, maybe holding this longer if that suits you. And with finishing the second full round of the cat and dog stretch, let's come to the neutral position, and let's take the toes together, knees wide, press the hips back, and maybe again just move from side to side, finding the comfortable position for the hips, and then stretch your arms actively forward into this active child pose. Bring the forehead down to the floor, and maybe even lifting the wrists, keeping the shoulders wide. Just a bit of the work. You might feel like it's extension for your upper back here. Opening the chest, taking here another exhale, and then let's look forward, lift the hips, tuck the toes, and come into first downward dog. So this is a first downward dog. Welcome to walk this dog. Welcome to pedal your heels, stretching maybe a little bit the calves and hamstrings that feels tight. And then keep your knees as bent as you need to align your spine. So think of your tailbone lifted up. So your dog is really happy this morning, and making sure that you're in a neutral position. Shake your head. Make sure you're not tensing the neck. Taking another exhale, and then let's drop the knees down to the floor. Stepping the right foot forward into the low lunge. You're welcome to use the blocks for this low lunge if you need. You might want to tuck your toes and lift your knee off the floor and then drop it down, so making sure that the back knee is comfortable. And here you're pressing your left hip forward. If you need, use the block here, opening the left hip flexor here, and then when you're ready, you can have a right hand on the block or right hand on the right thigh. Lift your left arm, palm facing the front, and just move the arm behind the head as far as it feels right. And again, feel the left shoulder opening. So create nice arch from the left big toe through the hip, through the torso, shoulder, and arm. Don't drop your head too low. Don't tense the neck here. And then exhale, bring the left hand down. You can release the blocks, tag the left toes, and step to the downward dog. It might take a couple of moves for you to go into downward dog. Take your time. In downward dog, again, the main purpose here is traction of the spine. So don't worry about keeping your knees straight. And just allow the head to pull the spine down, releasing especially the lower back. So trying to create nice sense of traction. And then let's drop the knees down to the floor. Stepping the left foot forward, using the blocks if you need. Press the right hip forward. And here, maybe pulsing a couple of times. Here, finding the opening on the right thigh, and then you can have a left hand on the block, take the right arm up, take the right arm overhead, palm facing front, feeling stretch, feeling opening on the front of the right shoulder, pressing the right hip forward as much as it feels right for you. And then let's exhale, and we'll go to another downward dog, and take as much time as you need to go to the downward dog. Bend your knees, long spine, shake your head, and then next time when you look forward, walk to the front of the mat. Set your feet hip distance, lower your head down, shake the head, long spine, and then very slowly let's come up into standing position. Okay, so you were finding yourself on the front of the mat. We were with the head down for the moment, so just allow yourself to feel comfortable in standing. Let the blood circulation return back to normal. And as you're holding your palms facing the front, notice how your shoulders open here. Make sure you're in neutral spine position, controlling here. And let's go to the full sun salutation. With inhale, lift the arms up. Hinging from the hips, exhale, folding forward, releasing the head down. On next inhale, stepping the left foot forward. And let's pick up the blocks. I hope you can reach to your blocks. Lift the torso up. So you are here in the lunge position, and we're gonna place the block on the palms, keeping elbows close to the rib cage. So from the front it looks this way, like you are serving two plates here, and let's open the palms to the side. So externally rotate our shoulders, and then bring it back. So make sure that you're not lifting your palms up. Your forearms are parallel to the floor. So feel like you're squeezing the shoulder blades, and then return back to the center. One more time. Opening here like you're serving the plates. Okay, good. Elbows tucked to the rib cage. Return them back. And from here, we'll place the block down to the floor and come into downward dog. Nice creative move from Heather to pick up books. Yes, it could be anything that you can hold on your palms with a little bit of the weight to work on the shoulder rotation. Great. On next inhale, look forward and come into plank. Hold the plank here. Use all the muscles of the body to resist the gravity. Push the floor and then drop the knees. Exhale, come all the way down. For this first back bend, let us have the arms on the sides of the hips, palms facing the ceiling. Roll the shoulders back, point the toes. Let's lift the chest, lift the legs a little bit, and then lift the palms a little bit. Feel how your triceps of the arms are working here to lift the arms while your shoulder are in internal rotation for this one. And then exhale. Bring the hands on the sides of the rib cage. Press yourself up into the cat stretch. Tug the toes. Exhale. Come into the downward dog. Head between the arms. Long spine. Taking the breath here. Step the right foot to the midline for more support. Step your left foot forward. Pick up the blocks and come up again here in the same position that we practiced before. But this time we will try to move the block back. So start with the right arm. So you're coming with the rotation of the shoulder. So you're gonna bring the palm backward with internal rotation for the shoulder and then bring it back. So you might want to have your blocks this way, like alongside, give you a little bit more space. And please practice both arms while you're holding. Yeah, so a little bit more of the shoulder work here. Going maybe for one more time for each arm. At the same time, you're still grounded through the legs. And then we will bring the blocks down to the floor and step into downward dog. Exhale. So after this warm up for the shoulders, just pay attention how you're stabilizing your downward dog in a shoulder area. If you're not tensing too much of your trapezius, if it's not all cramped toward the ears. And then on next inhale, look forward and walk to the front of the mat. Bring the hands on the shins, lift the chest halfway. And then exhale, folding forward, releasing the head and arms really passively. And then from here, hinging up into the standing mountain pose. Exhale, bring the arms on the sides of the hips. Exhale, let's flow one more time. Inhale, lift the arms up. Hinging from the hips, folding forward all the way down. Then stepping the left foot forward into lunge and then lifting the torso up. This time we'll come to traditional Virabhadrasana, a warrior one. Pressing the right knee forward, pressing the back heel back, really grounded through both legs equally, not overloading the front leg, keeping shoulders soft while you're reaching up toward the ceiling with the tip of the fingers. Gaze is soft, facing forward, neck is relaxed. You exhale in full. On next exhale, bring your hands down to the floor and step into plank. So slide your right leg back, holding the plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the knees down. Exhale, come all the way down to the floor. For the second one, we're going to slide the arms to the front into the Y position. And then when you're ready, you lift your face, chest, legs and arms. Palms are facing the floor, holding 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release, bring the hands to the sides of the rib cage. Press yourself maybe into the cat first, and then tucking the toes. Come into the downward dog. Downward dog is always the traction. Downward dog is always the contour pose for the back bends. Stepping the left foot forward into a nice wide lunge. Bring the hands to the hips and lifting the torso up. Taking a moment here before you reaching the arms up toward the ceiling. Keep all fingers together. Keep your arms working here. So this is the static strength. Pressing the left knee forward. Isometric strength work here. Using the back leg for support. Neutral spine position as much as you can. Engaging the abdomen here. On exhale, bring the hands to the floor and step into plank. Holding the plank, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, One, drop the knees down. Exhale, come all the way down to the floor. We're gonna bring the arms again into Y, but this time we'll turn the palms up toward the ceiling. So trying to work on external rotation of the shoulders, and when you're ready, lift your legs, lift your chest, lift your arms. Think like you're lifting something from the floor with your arms, and don't work too much with your neck. Make sure that the neck is neutral. Holding, normal breath. On exhale, release. Bring the hands on the sides of the rib cage, and let us come to the child pose. Rounding the spine. This time you might want to bring your arms on the sides of the hips, palms facing the ceiling. Relax shoulders. Exhale. Taking a couple of exhales here. And then bring your hands in front to lift your torso. Bring your knees together, tuck your toes. Lift your knees off the floor, so you're finding yourself on the back of your mat, on the tippy toes, low squat. Bring the hands on your thighs and try to balance here. Engage your abdomen. Holding the arms in front. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the hands on the floor. Drop your heels. Separate your feet hip distance, and then very slowly roll up into the standing position. Exhale. Taking a moment here to rest. And then let us step the right foot forward. So we are in a warrior 2 legs. Aligning your heel to heel or heel to arch. Making sure the back foot is parallel to the back mat. Front knee 90 degree. Rotate your shoulders to be parallel to the left side of the mat, and let's take your arms parallel to the floor. Let's make a fist. So you're still facing to the left, so your alignment here on the center, and let's rotate the right shoulder in. So internal rotation of the right shoulder, like you turning the palm up toward the ceiling, and then external rotation of the left. Okay, and then let's change. And from here, you're going to continue with that warrior 2 legs and with the shoulder work. So maintaining your torso as straight as possible. So don't move your shoulders. Try to keep them above the hips while you're working on their movement. And let's go for 3, 2, and 1. Let's release the arms, bring the front knee straight, and then rotate the right foot in, left foot out. So finding your warrior 2 on the other side, and just having a moment here, grounding yourself, checking your legs. Let's take the arms in the same position. We're going to do the same position for the arms, making the fist. And let's move one shoulder in, one shoulder out, and then rotate. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Release your arms, bring the left knee straight, turn your toes in. And then from the hinge, get into the half fold. So your knees could be slightly bent. And let's bring the arms behind, interlace the fingers, stretch your arms, drop the head down, and then just move your arms as far away from the back as it allowing you. And make sure that your elbows are as straight as possible. Drop the head. Your knees could be slightly soft here, making sure that you're distributing the weight equally on your feet. And then release. Bring your hands on the knees or above the knees. Lift your chest halfway and then come all the way up. Exhale. Let's pick up one block to place it on the center here. So if you don't have a block, you can use something to support, or you will just stop in the halfway. I'm going to show you how you practice without the block. So from the hips hinge and bring the hand down to the block if you're using one. It should be exactly under your chest. If you're not having the block, bring the left hand toward the right knee and bring the right hand to your lower back and twist to the right. So if you're using the block, you're keeping the left shoulder above the block, bring the right hand on your lower back and twisting to the right as well. So we're all twisting. It just depends if we have support. And I would like you to maintain your neutral spine here. So if you're trying to reach to the floor very often, you're rounding your spine, and that's not the safe way to twist. So you need to be with the torso straight, and if you feel your shoulder is feeling great, you can extend your right arm up. If it's too much for the shoulder, keep the right hand on the lower back. Choose your level of the intensity here. On exhale, rotate back to the center. So bring both hands on the block and think of a stretching forward. So allow your spine to rest after this twist. And then having the right hand on the block, left hand on the lower back, you're twisting to the left. So first work just with the shoulder rotation, and then if you feel it's comfortable for you, take your left arm up and keep holding, lengthening on inhale and trying to intensify. And when I say intensify, it's not something that you put in too much effort, just checking how body responds for the twist. And exhale, release your left arm down. Let us here interlace the elbows and just hang passively, maybe even shaking from side to side. Just allowing a little bit of a passive stretch of the back, of the whole back of the body. Actually, you should feel a quite intense stretch in the calves and hamstrings. And then very slowly, one vertebra at a time, let's come up into the standing position, and let's go toes, heels, into the standing. Okay, so let us challenge today our ankles in the standing balance pose. So we're gonna bring our blocks. I believe most of you are using the soft blocks, so that will be even more challenging than to use the hard blocks. And you put one block in front of the other and step the right foot on the block, okay? So when you step in the right foot, be aware of grounding your big toe, activate your arch and be grounded through the heel. And just for the first variation, we're going to just lift the left knee up, flex foot and balance it here. Hold that for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the left leg and just move from side to side. Bring the left foot on the block. Ground your left big toe. And when you're ready, lift your right knee up, flex the foot, and hold. Keep your breath normal. So this is something that you can catch your breath while you're still working hard, I'm pretty sure. Keeping the knee high, keeping the foot flexed. And let's release. So just shake your legs. We'll have one more standing balance pose, elevated. So your ankle is challenged here. Use the stabilization of your right hip. Use all the muscles to stabilize the hip. So ground yourself to the right leg and lift your left heel up, and then just bend your elbows like you're serving the plates, and then keep your right where it is. Lift your left arm up and flex the palm and hold here. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the left arm first like you're serving the plate, and then release the arms, and then release the leg. Okay, come off the blocks, shake your legs, and then bring your left foot on the block, ground yourself here, stabilize your left hip, and when you're ready, lift your right knee up, bring your forearms on the sides, palms facing the ceiling, and then take your right arm up, holding here, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the arm, hold, release, and release the leg. Great. So let us place the blocks back to the front. Come to the front of the mat. Set your feet hip distance. Stretch the arms on the sides of the hips. Close your eyes. And take a couple of exhales. So from the last one, you should feel more awareness of the position of your feet on the floor and how you're stabilizing your ankles and how you're stabilizing your hips. As you needed all that muscles to maintain your balance on the elevated position. So use that also for the standing. With inhale, lift the arms up, reaching up through the tip of the fingers. Exhale, folding forward all the way down, releasing the head. Bring the hands on the shins, lift the chest halfway, shoulders back. On exhale, stepping the left foot back into the lunge, lifting the arms into the warrior one. Pressing the front knee forward, pressing the back heel back, grounding yourself here, and at the same time reaching through the tip of the fingers up toward the ceiling. Let's drop the left heel and rotate yourself to the warrior two, to the left side of the mat. Don't lose your front knee 90 degree. Let's here bring the left hand to the left side. Turn the right palm toward the ceiling and come into crescent warrior. Keeping the length on the right side of the torso from the hip all the way to the tip of the fingers. Don't collapse to the left hand though. Feel that your core muscles are here, still holding this position. This is your center, the midsection of the torso. On exhale, return back into the warrior two. Take a moment over shoulders, and now just dropping the right hand inside the right knee. You don't need to go really low. Lift your left arm up. Think of alignment palm to palm with the relaxed shoulders. At the same time, imagine the string attached to the crown of the head that pulls you away from the left heel, so lengthening through the spine. You shouldn't have the curve in your spine. On next exhale, look down, release your left arm to the floor and find your plank. It might be several moves, that's okay. Hold your plank, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the knees down. Exhale, come all the way down to the floor. Reset the hands to be on the sides of the rib cage. Roll the shoulders back, pointed toes. Lift the chest up. Neutral neck. Tuck your toes. Exhale, come into the downward dog. And hold that as a rest pose, as well as the arm balance, as well as the spinal traction, as well as the inversion. And then when you're ready, stepping the left foot forward, using the back leg for support, lifting the torso up, taking the arms overhead into the warrior one. On the left, use your back leg for support, so try not to overload the front thigh. Dropping the right heel and opening yourself to the other side of the mat, making sure the front knee is still 90 degrees. Dropping the right hand to the right thigh, taking the left arm overhead, opening the chest, pressing the front knee forward. Controlling that you not collapse into the right leg. Using your especially lower abdomen muscles here to keep yourself here centered. On exhale, come to the warrior two, keeping shoulders relaxed, and then just dropping the left hand inside the right knee, taking the right arm up. So it doesn't need to be low. You might actually work much more if you are keeping your torso high. Your obliques gonna work here, and try to create one straight line from the right heel through the right hip, right shoulder to the right ear. On exhale, look down, release your right hand down and step into plank. Exhale, dropping knees down to the floor. Exhale, come down. Bring hands on the sides of the ribcage, roll the shoulders back, lift the chest up. And then from here, exhale, come into the child pose. This time, this child pose could be with the wide knees, arms in front or arms on the sides, whatever feels right for you. Our next inhale, lift the chest up and find yourself into seated position. So let us take a block to elevate the hips and set your left shin for support on the floor, and bend your right knee for their seated twist. Lifting the chest up and then holding the left knee with the left hand, keeping the right arm behind as the second spine. And again, as we tried the twist, seated twist in the beginning of the practice, you maintaining the open chest and rotating just the upper torso above the lower torso. But here is even more locked position for the hips. So make sure there's no strain in your lower back. Close your eyes and think of exhale, think of relaxation. And next exhale, return back to the center, lengthening here. And then go to the other side. Bring the left ankle to the floor. Interlace the fingers on the top of the knee, get length here. And then bring the left arm behind and twist. Might feel a little bit tighter if you have, let's say, left shoulder tightness. You might feel that you have less rotation here. Again, don't overwork here, more of a relaxation than the effort. On exhale, relax and notice how the twist progresses. Return back to the center, allow the spine to rest here. And then we'll take the block away and return back into the wide-legged position. This time, try to flex the feet and think of external rotation of the thighs. Bring the block in front and just keep stretching the chest forward. And as you practice it, I would need to catch the spider here. And from this very active fold forward, let's come to the passive fold forward. So you got to relax your legs. You might notice how your toes are falling inward and using the blocks for support. So you might use even one block on the top of the other block. If you're not progressing forward too much, you can have both forearms resting on the blocks and you're dropping the head down. So as passive as it could be for you, exhale. Through this passive stretch, direct your breath to the most tight spots that you might discover in this hold. Then very slowly come up into seated position, and we will come to the supine position on the floor, finding the comfortable head position is very important to maintain the neutral neck. And we'll bring the right ankle on the top of the left knee, keeping the foot flexed, so we lock in the right knee in this position. And here you're welcome to practice the active position with just lifting the left heel off the floor, flexing the foot, and using the strength of the left leg to press the ankle toward the chest while you're trying to externally rotate your right shoulder. So that could be one variation of this pose. It's required a lot of their effort to hold the left leg this way. You can keep your left leg up straight, also flex position, and then the last variation, you can interlace the hands behind the left thigh. So whatever works for you, please choose variation, modification here, keeping shoulders relaxed, especially when we're trying to interlace the hands behind the thigh. Sometimes we just don't have enough flexibility in the right hip, and we're really shrugging the shoulders. That's why I'm not really in favor in this position. It's much better to use the strength of the left leg. Even if you keep it straight, you're working on the active stretch of your hamstring. You're controlling more of a neutral spine here. So this way or this way more active. Maybe a little bit harder to hold, but definitely have a lot of other benefits just on the top of the right hip opening here. And let's release the left leg. Bring the right foot down to the floor, reset your hips, and let us bring the left ankle on the top of the right knee, flex the foot, open the knee, and then again. The first variation is here, when you using the right leg strength to press the ankle toward the chest, and you're trying to open the left hip. Both feet are flexed. It could be the active hamstring stretch for the right leg when your leg is up. Again, you're trying to maintain the neutral spine position. And then the last variation is the interlacing the hands behind the thigh. But if you're using this variation, make sure you're not creating too much tension on the top of the shoulders. And let's release here. Set your feet on the floor. Reset your hips. Maybe you feel a little bit of the movement from side to side. And then, like we practiced, as I believe last time on Tuesday, let us have a blocks, one on the top of the other, or any support on the right side of the hips. Take your arms in T position, bend your knees, and then just find your shins are resting on this elevated block support. Bring your right hand on the top of the right knee. Keep grounding your left shoulder blade on the floor and turn your head to the left. Work with your exhale to release the left shoulder on the floor. You might feel a lot of a stretch on the front of the left shoulder. Taking 5 more exhales here. Slower breath. Calming the mind from the very active first part of the practice. Exercising the sense of the grounding, sense of release. And when you're ready, release your knees back to the center. If you're using blocks, welcome to move the block to the left. And lift your legs up and drop the shins to the left. Turn the face to the right. Exhale. We'll be holding that for a little bit. Emphasize your exhale in your right shoulder. And then very slowly release your legs back to the center. Reset your hips, reset your shoulders. Then extend your legs and extend your arms overhead. And we'll practice Bandhanasana to stretch the sides of the body in one more position here. So moving your head and shoulders to the left, moving your heels to the left, crossing the right ankle on the top of the left, if that works for you. So we practice several side bends today, but this one is allowing you to add the stretch on the full length of your right side, from the heel to the palm. And notice where the tight knots, there's probably around the hip, around the IT band insertion, around the right shoulder or armpit. So work your best here to release that through the exhalation. So don't try too hard to go to more intense position. Be where it feels comfortable and just keep exhaling. Exhaling, taking attention away. Passive stretch will involve your connective tissues, the fascial tissues here that we need to address, as well as the muscular strength, muscular stretch. Return back to the center with the head and arms. Return back to the center with your heels. You might even want to release your arms for the moment to let your shoulders rest, and then move your head to the right, move your heels to the right, and then add your arms if that works for you. You might hold your left wrist with the right hand. Left shoulder is relaxed here. Left hip is relaxed on the floor. Taking 5 exhales. Then return back to the center, return your heels to the center. Let's take the arms over the head for the moment and point the toes and stretch the full body. Stretch the back, front, side of the body. Take a deep inhale and exhale through the mouth. Release your arms to be comfortably on the sides of the hips. Move your heels a little bit apart, letting your toes fall apart. So we worked a bit on the hip mobility today, but also all the lunges definitely help you to work on their hip stability and flexibility here. So just feel how your hips are opening to the external position. We played a lot for the shoulder mobility today. So as you set in your arms, palms facing the ceiling, just notice how your shoulders respond to that position. Taking the back of the head in a comfortable way, making sure that you're not creating any tension on the back of the neck. Gently close your eyes and practice Shavasana. Without forcing your breath into any certain pattern, just observing the natural pacing, the natural sensation of the inhalation, exhalation. Allowing yourself a moment of doing nothing, thinking nothing. Just being. When you're ready to add gentle moves back, start with fingers, toes, wrists, ankles, knees, elbows. When you're ready, rock maybe from side to side and see if you can come into the seated position, cross-legged. Bring the hands in front of the heart. And thank yourself for being able to practice this morning. Take the positive energy with you to be your guide through the rest of the day. Namaste.